We here at the Movie Ticket Radio podcast salute all the YouTubers who do all their videos because, you know, I found out this is a lot of work. Hi, I'm J.R. Russ, and we're posting our podcasts here now just for more people to find and hear them. But, you know, John Landecker and I are pretty much radio guys. In fact, folks have said that we have faces for radio. That means no pictures, no video, no graphics, just this. So sit back and enjoy the oral experience, spelled A-U-R-A-L. That means sound, not what you're probably thinking.
Movie Ticket Radio.
Welcome to the Movie Ticket Radio podcast, the companion to the streaming audio movie hits format, MovieTicketRadio.com. I'm your charming and delightful host, J.R. Russ, and with me, Hall of Fame broadcaster John Records Landecker. And John, what are we going to be talking about today?
House of Gucci.
Oh, Gucci, Gucci, Goo to you too, Johnny.
And, and House of Colt.
House of Doggy.
House of Doggy, yeah.
And by the way, this movie is not to be confused with the playmate of Eddie Munster, House of Googie. Nor is it to be confused with the Disney movie House of Goofy. Oh, gosh. So,
hey, speaking of Disney, did you see that Minnie Mouse apparently has been now no longer wears a dress or a skirt, but has
a pantsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fox News is all over it.
I bet they are.
It's the collapse of America, I believe.
I know.
So this is a 2021 movie, which I just saw recently, and pretty good. It has the guy in it, Lady Gaga.
Yes, it does.
Along with
Adam Driver, Al Pacino, Jeremy Irons.
Salma Hayek. Ooh. And I was going to call Adam Driver, he's not Darth Vader. What's his name in Star Wars?
Now, wait a minute. Now I'm confused. Isn't he like the son of Darth Vader or a first cousin or?
He's Kylo Ren, Han and Leia's bad apple son.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You'd think he would have turned out to be a better person.
You'd think. Especially with a nice mom like Carrie Fisher. You know, you think
Right.
he'd just sit around getting high all day. So in this movie, it's based on the true story of the Gucci family and how there were two brothers that started it and their children who subsequently were taking it over, and some infighting. And Lady Gaga plays a woman that one of the Gucci brothers ends up marrying. So it's pretty interesting. And there's a lot of hit music in this. I will say the placement of the songs are a little odd. Hard to describe.
Yeah, you know, if you notice them, if something comes in on the soundtrack and you're paying a little too much attention to it, it's like that. I think that's what you're talking about. It's like, well, why is it there at that point? I mean, I think it's obviously we wouldn't be doing this at all if there weren't soundtracks, but they can be correctly or incorrectly placed. They can be the right or wrong song chosen for the moment. It happens.
In fact, this rundown I have here doesn't have our usual listing of the writers of the songs, but I do have, at least in this movie, a little bit of reminder of where it shows up in the movie, so we can kind of hit those, and we'll see on a couple of those that'll kind of point that out, what you're talking about. So Heart of Glass is one that was in the trailer.
And that's Blondie, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's actually later in the movie, but I put it up here early because it shows up in the trailer, and many times songs you hear in the trailers aren't in the movies.
I know. That's sort of odd.
Yeah, I guess it's just to make the trailer move faster or something.
Yeah, maybe.
No, I'm not sure if this was in the movie or not. Eurythmics' Sweet Dreams are made of this.
That I remember distinctly, so maybe not.
That was an official trailer too, but I don't think it was in the movie. And so there are a lot of Italian songs in here, and I didn't cover most of those. But one that kind of starts it out is La Grazia col Maglione by Pino Di Giorgio.
I know his brother Grigio.
Pinot Grigio. Oh,
yeah,
makes
well
a tasty
known
beverage.
He's a well-known person.
Yeah. Well, Patrizia, who is Lady Gaga, arrives at her father's trucking company, and the whole kind of thing about it is, as Aldo meets her and falls in love with her, Al Pacino is the father, and he says that the trucking company is mafia, and he thinks she's a gold digger, and he doesn't think she could get married. So that's the whole bone of contention with this movie as far as personalities go.
Yes, indeed it is.
Jared Leto is the brother.
Right.
Or the cousin. I'm sorry, they're cousins. Because he's the brother's son. The two Gucci brothers who started the business, he is one of the brothers' sons.
This reminds me of the song, I'm My Own Grandpa.
Yeah. And Jared Leto is made up so much. It took 3 hours of makeup, I heard.
At least.
You cannot tell it's him.
No.
Wow. But, and forgive me, anyone listening now, if I get all these names wrong, they're, you know, you get the Aldos and the Patrices and the Paulos and the, you know, okay. So Al Pacino is Aldo's father, and he says, nah, they're mafia trucking, you shouldn't get involved. Well, she goes to a party, and this is actually how they meet. This really should come first. They meet at a party, and Bad Girls by Donna Summer playing, so hence they being the bad girl probably is where that comes up.
Indeed. A little tip of the plot
Yeah,
to Donna Summer.
And
Yeah.
a lot of the Donna Summer music in here with On the Radio.
Mm-hmm.
So this plays while Patricia and Max are at a costume party.
Sounds good to me.
Then,
Dun, 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 dun,
because it's
dun,
based
dun,
in the
dun,
70s, you got Disco Fever.
dun, 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 dun. Yep.
Disco Inferno. The Tramps. And that's from a scene where Maurizio and Patricia are dancing together.
Indeed they are.
One of the most interesting one is a hit song that's not a hit song, but it's a cover done in Italian, Sono Bulgardia, or I'm a Believer.
You know, that really caught my ear.
Yeah.
Because you're watching the movie and you're hearing Italian singing, and then all of a sudden you realize you recognize the song from somewhere, and it took me like a few seconds to put it together, but it's the Neil Diamond written, formerly done by the Monkees, I'm a Believer, in Italian.
Yeah, it's like Sam Kennison.
It's the Monkees! They weren't even a real group!
Yeah, so and Caterina Caselli did it, but it was really ear-catching. It's a really good version of the song, so if you have an opportunity, check out that one on YouTube. I'm a Believer, Sona Bugliard.
Se guardo te, io sono bugiarda, l'amore c'è, è dentro di me, amo te, sono bugiarda, lo so.
You know, I've got to believe, no pun intended, that there is a soundtrack of this available on Amazon Music or Spotify or something like that.
Well, I saw a soundtrack listing, but it seemed to only have all of the soundtracky kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
The background. Yeah, I didn't see any of the hit songs, so maybe they didn't pay to reproduce them.
That'd be odd.
And it was 2 volumes, too, but it was a lot of operatic stuff. Maybe that's who they figured the audience will be for this.
Could be. I don't know.
But that song plays while Maurizio Gucci starts working at her father's trucking company. So there we are. Now they fall in love. They get married. At the wedding, played George Michael's Faith.
Great tune.
Because you got to have faith, the faith. And more Eurythmics, as Patricia tells Maurizio she's pregnant. And there's a montage inside a bathtub, too. All takes place there.
And here comes the rain again.
This was one that I thought was odd, because there was no rain when it started playing.
Maybe it's code.
Maybe. But then it did start to rain.
Well, then maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
She was standing at a balcony with the city in the background, and it started playing, and he's taking photographs of her. But then it started to rain on her. But
Right.
now, I don't know what having the rain again had to be with being pregnant. Kind of odd.
Kind of. Oh, by the way, you probably might hear a dog every occasion. Occasionally, there might be a dog.
Here comes the dog again.
Here comes that dog again.
His name is Colt. He will answer your email if you want to write us at movieticketradio@gmail.com. Colt will be glad to answer fan mail.
Indeed. And I would love it if you do it, because maybe he'd stop barking for a few minutes. Colt, come on.
I'm watchdogging here. Leave me alone.
Jeez.
There are leaves and snowflakes and
Who
wind.
knows?
I'm watching all that stuff. Donna Summer returns with I Feel Love.
Indeed she does.
I've used part of that song as a bed for traffic at radio stations because I think it sounds like a helicopter.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Maurizio and Patrizia come to New York with Aldo. That's Al Pacino. It's one of these where both of the fathers don't have faith in their sons, but they like the other brother's son.
Yeah.
So that moves along to another Donna Summer song.
Which is Love to Love You, Baby, and how ironic that you have put in here it's the single edit.
That's right.
Because the complete version of Love to Love You, Baby it's long.
And it's got lots of moaning in it.
Yeah.
I think Donna Summer learned singing in church.
Yeah, I believe she also, after a while, wouldn't perform because of that. Colt! Wouldn't. Come here. Say hi to JR.
Hi, Colt. Sit next to Dad and hush up.
She didn't perform that in concert after a while because she felt bad about her religious upbringing and what that song was about and all the moaning. And
yeah, it was a little embarrassing to her,
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
But she felt she sold out to do that one. But it was a big hit.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then an odd one here. This is one of those things we talked about, Christmas movies with regular songs in them and regular movies with Christmas songs.
Oh, right.
Andy Williams, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
But they are skiing in Switzerland at that point. So, I mean, there's snow. Yeah.
And that's where Maurizio bumps into Paula, I guess, or would you pronounce that, which is an old girlfriend from years gone by.
Oh, yeah.
And then a Bobby Short song.
Do they play the long version? But I'm telling you.
No, it's the short version. I've got your number.
You mean the song? Yes.
Yeah. As Paolo and Aldo are talking on the phone, and the song continues while Aldo is getting arrested.
Good old Aldo.
Yeah.
Maybe if we start calling him Alpo, Colt will shut up. Colt!
Did you know if you go up 476, also known as the Pennsylvania Turnpike Northeast Extension, you pass the Alpo Water Tower?
I do not,
Yeah.
but the next time in the area, I'll be sure to give it a shout-out.
Horses are very nervous around there. And more disco with Walter Murphy and the Big Apple Band.
A fifth of Beethoven.
Mm-hmm. And that plays during a scene while Paulo is fitting clothes. Then we talked about this in Atomic Blonde just recently.
Right.
Blue Monday by New Order, same song.
Yep.
I checked it out. Very, very same during a Milan fashion show. So
right.
This is one of those where a song that is kind of really off to the right side there somewhere appears in two movies here within a couple of years.
It must be, and this is just a hypothetical thought process on my part. I don't know if the House of Gucci really, considering the budget, that it was, it's a big budget movie. I mean, they've got all these stars in it. They're on locations. They got amazing, obviously, wardrobe because it's about Gucci. And, you pay for the rights to use songs, licensing payments to include songs in the soundtrack. And sometimes it can get expensive. And
oh, yeah.
I just have a theory that every once in a while the music supervisor finds a song that they think works that maybe not everybody is that familiar with, and the rights to it aren't overwhelming, so it gets included. That's just my theory. I have no idea.
I think you're 100% right. In fact, this is going to come up in our next movie that we do, and we'll tease that till the end. But I do have a little writing from the director that talked about the music supervisor who finds things.
Yes.
They wanted to use a AC/DC or some song in it, and they didn't. But they found an Australian hit that has the same kind of feeling to it.
Right. And doesn't cost as much.
Exactly. In fact, It's funny because we talk about this, and this actually came up in Saturday Night Live just recently in the one hosted by William Dafoe. And there was a scene that kind of dealt with Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, yeah. They said the line was, we'd do more of the song or something, but we couldn't buy the rights or
Exactly. We couldn't afford the rights.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson was the Beast. And he started to sing the song, I think, Be Our Guest or something. And then he had, we'd sing more, but we don't have the rights. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very present and important thing.
Oh, most assuredly, yeah.
You know, you could probably blow a lot of budget just for rights to a song.
No question about it.
That may or may not make or break a movie.
Right.
Most likely won't if the movie's good enough.
Yeah, true that.
Here's one they probably got reasonably cheap. Howji by Black Machine.
Never heard of it.
No, but Tom Ford had that Gucci-inspired show on the runway, and so they were walking to that. So that's a big up-tempo, brassy-sounding thing. Then a David Bowie song, not a huge hit of his, Ashes to Ashes.
Another eclectic choice.
The single version.
Indeed.
And that's during Maurizio's Vogue photo shoot. And then at the end, as the whole thing is wrapping up, and this is another odd thing I thought about this movie was they were like, hey, here's the movie. Hey, here's how they meet. Here's the story. Hey, we're out of time. Here's how it ends.
Gotta run.
Yeah, I don't want to really spoil it for those who have not seen it, but there is a crime committed.
Well, it is a true story. Okay. I mean, you know that going in.
All right. So,
I mean, maybe some people don't, but that's why they made the movie is because there is a crime.
Yeah. So Maurizio Gucci is killed.
Right. And who did it and who done it? And,
right. But they didn't get into any of how the police figured out who did it. All of a sudden, they're just all in court. They're like, hey, you're all guilty. Bye.
That's
Movie's
true.
Over.
Yeah. Well, I guess they figured it was more about the relationships, the infighting. You know, it strikes me it's an okay, as far as I thought, it's an okay movie, but it's another show or movie or whatever you want to call it. There's, I think, Billions, Succession, which are two shows that stream, and this movie are about, this is obviously a factual family, the other two are fictional, but they're all really rich people who are totally unlikable.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's not a likable person in this cast.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, character, really.
Right.
I mean, they really aren't.
No.
All of them have got something really irritating about them. I mean, the fathers say the most disgusting things about their sons to their faces.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, and a lot of people, and myself included, like Billions and Succession, I mean, these are, people look forward to the new season or the next episode, and these families are filthy rich and hate each other.
Yeah.
And it's just an observation on my part that this is some sort of new plot device that everybody seems to enjoy. I guess it's just we're not all rich, so we assume that being rich equals happiness, and they go out of their way to show how obsessive.
How money doesn't buy happiness.
And how it can take over your mind and your life and ruin your entire family, quite frankly. Yeah. And, in the end, they make a point of saying that, I think it's in a graphic that comes up after the plot is over, that there are no Gucci family members involved in the Gucci product anymore. None.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it just went corporate.
Right. They blew it and had to be bought out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it also said the names have been changed to protect the innocent. But maybe I'm confusing that with Dragnet.
That'd be a stretch.
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. Am I watching Dragnet or am I watching The House of Gucci?
Well, they're both involved crime, so.
Well, that Jack Webb, he had such a great purse. You know what I do? But I gotta say, I do like the scene where the character played by Lady Gaga comes home, and Gucci is a big deal at the time. And she comes into the kitchen and she sees a Gucci bag.
Yeah.
And it belongs to the help, and it gets into this whole illegal knockoff market, which I think many of us are aware of. And the first time I was really overexposed to it would be during the summer when I went to visit my daughter Amy in New York. There'd be people on the street, like street vendors with quote-unquote Gucci bags and Rolex watches.
Yeah, for $20.
Yeah, and they looked pretty close, but obviously they weren't. And they were copyright infringing all over the place. And I thought that was an interesting plot point that really had nothing to do with family relationships or anything, but was something that most of us are aware of, that big name brands like that can get ripped off quite easily.
Well, I also thought it was really interesting that Al Pacino, as one of the Gucci brothers, the fathers, didn't care that they were being ripped off.
Right.
Because he said that's getting our name out there. It's free advertising because the average housewife can't afford a real Gucci bag.
Right.
So they aspire to have it, and Lady Gaga is saying it cheapens the brand because it takes away the exclusivity. So it was interesting how he said, let them make the knockoffs. I guess they were maybe licensing it or something. They were licensing cheap knockoffs.
I think a lot of that happens now with Prada.
Yeah. Well, the devil wears it.
Right. I'll have to call up one of the Kardashians and
Yeah.
get the full story.
Get the latest there. Well, wrapping this up in a nice, pretty Gucci bag. The last song is Baby, Can I Hold You Tonight, as the sentences are being handed down and the credits are rolling. And it's a combination, kind of an interesting mix here, of Tracy Chapman, Jose Molina, the Orchestra Sinfonica Italiana, and Lucio Pavarotti.
How about that?
That is a quartet, let me tell you. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much the end credits, and that's the end of House of Gucci.
Next will be the House of the Rising Sun.
And House of Pancakes, I think.
Followed by the House of Ill Repute.
That's right.
Don't go away.
No. So like us, share us, listen, and drop us a line at movieticket.radio@gmail.com. And have you thought about maybe what we'll do next time?
Well, I think we were talking, and we mentioned that during this that there's so many different sources to watch video, streaming services. How about a Cobra Kai?
I was thinking that we did the Karate Kid movies 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
And even though this isn't Karate Kid, it's big, it's happening now, and there's a lot of great music in it. So I was able to find a rundown of some of the music in there. So, yeah, let's do Cobra Kai next time.
Sounds good to me.
All right. So we'll catch you, wherever podcasts are sold or give it away for free. I'm J.R. Russ.
I'm John Landecker. Thank you for listening.
Bye, Colt.
Now he's quiet.
He is a good boy. Yeah, well.
Thanks, Colt. Thanks for doing your part. Where are you when we need you? Okay.
Movie Ticket Radio.